Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, August 28th. Almost said the 6th. Weekend brain is going long and hard. Weekend was long and hard, a lot of traveling. I was in Chicago. I apologize for not having a couple shows last week, but we are back. We're ready to go. Football is upon us now. It is here. It is no longer, we are no longer waiting for it. Week 0 in college football started last week. Week 0 is just a little bit of a taste. You know, you get some teams that have played. USC played San Jose State. They won. They didn't look great. Defense still stinks, right? Not great. They have obviously probably the best quarterback in college football on their team, and they have a lot of talented players. Their offense is good. Defense, not so much, but they won. They get through Week 0 with a dub. Week 0 is a good, it's a nice appetizer for college football. There's not much to really hang your hat on. You see, smaller teams play other, some bigger teams. You have Notre Dame, who's, full of Catholics, go out to Ireland and put a drubbing in Dublin on, was it Navy? Army?
Navy.
It was Navy.
And their coach looked like he was cosplayed as the Navy. He looks like the Navy.
That's
Did you
what
see
they
him?
want, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had the beard, everything.
Yeah,
he was ready. Swashbuckler.
He was ready. Obviously, Notre Dame put on a show for their Catholicism followers over there in Dublin, Ireland. But, you see some of the high school football games, like the premier high school football games, start to be played and televised on Saturday in Week 0. We are in Week 1 now. This is the Monday of Week 1. You have college football on Thursday. You have college football on Friday. You have college football on Saturday. You have college football on Sunday. And you end it with college football on Monday, right? The only ranked matchup of the week is LSU against Florida State in Orlando. That is a top 10 matchup. There is no other ranked teams playing this week, but there's some other intriguing matchups. Florida is playing at Utah, obviously the home and home. Utah and Florida played a game last year that was pretty entertaining. We'll see what happens this year. Obviously, Florida's got a lot of transition that they're going through. They lose their first-round quarterback, who people weren't very high on in college when he was playing because he wasn't putting up numbers, but he was super talented. Now he's a starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of things change in a year. Now they go to Utah. Utah returns their starting quarterback, who has a lot of experience and a lot of talent in college football. So that's on Thursday. That is going to be an interesting matchup. There's some other ones out there that are intriguing, but the one that everybody wants to talk about, not just here in Louisiana and not just in Tallahassee, but around the country, is LSU versus Florida State. We're going to be talking about that all week. On Wednesday, we're going to have a special guest. We were announced it when he officially confirms it. It's officially official, but he has a very close connection to the starting quarterback for Florida State. Some would say that better than most. Some would say the best connection. Yeah, knows him better than most people do. But we will have him on Wednesday. We're excited about that. Throughout the course of the week, we're going to preview the game. We're going to talk about the game, what we want to see. It was all LSU all week, all college football all week. We're going to mix in some other stuff, but it's going to be majority 95% college football talk. We are excited about that. We're going to run through these Heineken headlines. Will Campbell gets the number 7 nod. He is not going to be wearing number 7 as his actual jersey. He's going to wear his number with the 7 patch.
I was so confused with that.
I thought initially, I was like, oh my God, the left tackle is going to be wearing number 7. Not the case. He's going to have a 7 patch. I think it's well deserved, much deserved, very well, much, how do I say that? Well earned, well deserved, well deserved, earned. He's earned that. I think Brian Kelly has made it a point and made it his mission, right? We talked about the offensive line not being deep and not being talented historically. Like, you have to develop these guys. Brian Kelly historically has had very deep offensive lines. He values that. I think this shows you that how much he values that, how much the left tackle and how much the offensive line is important to the team. So Will Campbell, congratulations to him, number 7. And then number 18 is also on the defensive line. He is going to be playing on the defense. So you have your left tackle, right, gets number 7. And then you get your defensive tackle, Mikkie Mahtook, at number 18, right? We've seen number 18 play defensive tackle before. Benny Logan was 18. And, I think that was much deserved as well for Mikkie Wingo. Too many Mikkies. Mikkie Garner, Mikkie Wingo. I find it interesting, though, that he has made such an impact on this team as a transfer, right? He has earned the right to wear 18. He didn't get recruited here from high school. He transferred in. He earned his way. I think if you see any of the LSU's football Instagram and their social media, they had a video of him speaking at practice when he got honored, given the 18, and he was talking, and I think what he said is very important. And I think a lot of people don't understand what the locker room feel is when someone new comes in, right? And so he basically spoke about it's an honor. He goes on, I got here a couple years ago. I wanted to keep my head down. I want to play hard, and I want to earn the trust and respect of my teammates, right? And I think people just think, oh, he's going to this good school, and he's going to transfer in. He's going to just, be right there seamlessly, just be a star. Well, it's not always about just talent when you move into a program like LSU or any big program around the country. It's more about fitting in. It's more about, being accepted and earning the respect of the guys that have been there for the years before you got there. And so I think that that was a very important thing for me to hear, and I'm glad that he understands that and values that as well. So congratulations to him, right? Obviously, there wasn't many position battles, as you can say, this year. Obviously, the quarterback was a hot topic last year. That was not the case this year. Jaden Daniels is the guy, will be the guy, second in the Heisman odds to start the season. Like, he is the dude, right? Receivers, I think you're pretty much set. It's going to be a revolving door outside of, the top dogs. And then on the defensive side, you have some linebackers. I think that was for the secondary was the big question. Sage Ryan's injury was not as serious as everybody thought it was going to be, which is good news. He is going to rotate from cornerback from nickel into corner. And apparently, he is one of the fastest on the team, which is kind of surprising. I knew he could run, but fastest on the team, I think, is something I don't think people thought when they said, oh, Sage Ryan, fastest on the team. But Ryan Kelly comes out and says that. And, those are the Heineken headlines. Obviously, New Orleans Saints finished preseason 2-1, almost went undefeated. Preseason records mean nothing. But I think what they did do over this course of these 3 weeks was they proved that they're a lot better than people probably thought they were going to be. I think the offense ran a lot smoother than they thought it was going to be. Derek Carr was very much assimilated into the culture of New Orleans, it feels like. He's embraced that. You're not going to have Alvin Kamara for the first 3 games. That's okay. I think the other running backs are very much capable to handle that load. The wide receivers, I think, were the most impressive thing in camp. You have Olave, who's a stud. Michael Thomas looked like he's slowly getting back to his form. He had some moves. And then you had O.T. Perry, who's a big receiver. And then you have Shaq Davis, who people are saying that he's probably going to make the team as the last receiver. Traquan Smith, out, finally. Right?
Thank
Traquan
God.
has had his time. And I don't like to say, good riddance, because hopefully he lands on his feet somewhere else and he has some success. But he was drafted as a guy that was supposed to be a guy and just hasn't really panned out to be that person. So
Man hates to play football.
that's, maybe. I don't know if he hates to play football, but
He hates to play for the Saints.
he's made some money.
And I think Jalen Smith is going to make the team.
Jalen Smith, well, I don't think that was a question, right?
It was a late addition that felt like you wanted to see what you could get from him, and now it feels like back-to-back weeks you saw somebody that could maybe be your second-best linebacker on the team.
That's what I mean. I think that he not only is he going to make the team, I think he's going to be in that rotation of this guy's going to be a difference maker.
I'm just interested to see how much use you can get out of him because of his obvious knee injuries that happened in the Fiesta Bowl at Notre Dame, where it felt like he was never really right after that when he seemed to be a top 10 pick. And now he's flashed sometimes with the Cowboys. Get him off the street. Yeah. And now you might have a player on your hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a huge pickup. I think the Saints, over the last 7-8 years, have done a really good job
of finding people like players like that.
Getting at the linebacker position specifically, right? If you look at all the guys that they've brought in, obviously Demario Davis he's the best, right? Like, he's 34 years old and he plays every game, makes 100 tackles a year. Like, you know what you're going to get out of him. But you have signed guys in free agency or late in rounds or undrafted guys that have been able to compete at that linebacker position. So that's encouraging, and I think that it's going to be a fun season for Louisiana football in general. But it is the start of college football. NFL football has got 2 weeks about a week and a half, I guess, right? They play on that Thursday night football. of next week is the first. This is the national anthem.
She's belting it, dude. She's crushing. What is this?
It's a child singing the national anthem for the U.S.
Oh, the U.S. Open. I actually hooked up
Oh.
my friend.
Okay.
I hooked up my friend Chris McGee with some tickets to the U.S. Open.
What were we talking about before the show?
Yeah. She's getting after it. So much so that I can hear. And I got something to say. No, I'm just joking. But NFL starts next Thursday, not this week, but next Thursday, and so it's college football time. It's LSU time. Let's get into it. Let's jump right into it. Let's give this girl a little. You can probably hear on this.
She's just.
She's getting after it.
We were talking, I was like, what's that noise?
It's in the other room.
But I can't see.
That's how much she's belting it.
I was going to turn it down, but we gave you the remote. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's good.
DeVito.
Everybody loves America, so
Well.
Most people. I love America. Okay, I love America.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. Let's get into the college football conversation.
A show she just put on. Sometimes she's just, young enough to not know.
U.S. Opens. Not U.S. Opens. U.S. Opens are tough too. National anthems are tough. Because there's, it's not.
Speaking of tough, LSU football
Yeah, there you
starts
go.
off with
Thank you.
FSU coming up on Sunday, 8
Thanks,
p.m.
Lloyd.
ESPN.
I was trying to get there, but y'all just wouldn't let me. But you got there. I appreciate that. Sunday night football, Sunday night college football. Both teams return a ton, obviously, right? And look, we're going to do this all week. We're going to talk about it all week. We're going to give different perspectives from guys from LSU, guys from Florida State. We're going to do a lot of different things. But last year the first game of the season was extremely entertaining. You didn't really know what to expect for either team. Both teams were kind of coming off bad seasons. Both teams had to make a statement for that season for their coaches, right? Obviously, Brian Kelly wasn't going to get fired after year one, but Mike Norvell was on the hot seat. Hey, you don't win and you look bad again, you're not going to be able to survive, right? And so Florida State plays LSU in the Superdome, and it was a very entertaining game. LSU didn't play their best game, ends up losing on a blocked field goal. They come back and get to revenge that in Orlando. Jay, you've prepared for multiple college football seasons, right? You go through August. We talk about how August is a grind. Not only is it a grind because it's super hot, it's a grind because you're looking forward to that first game of the season. You get through the first week, it's long. You get through the second week, it's long, but you really start to look. You get to that third week, you're like, okay, we're 2 weeks away. Like we really got to get going. And now you get to game week. What is the feeling of a player that's been through it and the team when you get to game week and you finally are ready to start preparing for Florida State or the opponent?
When these scout team cards start to come up and it's no longer your own defense or their defensive scheme that you see, when you get to actually go through a scouting report and you get to detail each player in each position, and then now when you get out onto the field, that team, your scout team is now wearing their colors and that cornerback is wearing number 15 just like their cornerback. It is a complete re-energizing feeling going through. Now this feels like game week, this feels like season practice, so it's completely different. And from year one of Brian Kelly to year two of Brian Kelly, I can't wait to see from game one what it looks like in a sense of organization and how everything's ran and how well oiled the machine is. Because let's be honest, you come in last year in year one and there's different coaches coming from all corners of the country, different players coming from all corners of the country. I don't really care who you are as a leader, as a coach. It's hard to get everyone on the same page. And I think that kind of showed in an LSU team who played a week 0 game, who was a eventual top 10 team in the nation. And you kind of saw that in LSU's play that game. We'll see what happens this year, but I do think there's a difference in how this thing's going to be played out organization-wise, and I don't think you'll see an LSU team that's kind of out of sorts, if you will, like we did last year to start the year. And so it's going to be fun to kind of see that.
It's fun. It's crazy to see. A year makes a lot of difference, right? The expectations going into game one of last year was, what is the team going to look like, right? Because the 2 years before that, they were not very sharp, right? They were undisciplined. They weren't consistent. You felt like they just couldn't get over that hump, right, for one reason or another. And then going into, you have Brian Kelly. This guy's gonna, he's kind of a disciplinarian. Yeah. He's gonna make sure everybody's in the right spot. He's gonna make sure everybody's disciplined. And you kind of go through that first game wondering what the offense is gonna look like, new quarterback, and wondering what the team is how they're gonna react to that. And it didn't get off to a great start, right? Like, you had a couple muff fumbles as a punt returner, right? Now, the punt returning position this year was one of the most talked about positions on the field, which is crazy. You don't usually talk about that, right? As much as we have done this year because of what you saw last year. You had that game, you had the Tennessee game, you had some games where you had some mishaps, not only in the field goal game, like where you're kicking field goals or field goal blocks, but in the return game, right? And so, you have Aaron Anderson is going to take over that role. He's obviously super explosive. He's got a lot of, experience in that position. You know what the offense is going to look like. At least you know what you want to see from the offense. Yeah. Year 2 in the offense, year 2 as a starting quarterback. The offensive line is all back together. The continuity is there. That was what you worried about the year before. This year you feel like it's there. So now the expectations are higher because of those things. Now the other question is the defensive side of the ball. Yes, I understand there's concern, but I'm very excited to watch the front seven play, even though Mason Smith is not going to be playing in the first game because of a suspension that I still don't understand. Can you explain it to me, Lloyd?
How?
I don't understand. So NCAA, even though it's legal now, I get it. When it happened, NIL wasn't a thing, I guess. But you're gonna go back and you're gonna say, oh, we're just gonna retroact this thing we're gonna punish you for something that happened 2 years ago. NCAA can't get out of their own way, dude.
No, and they don't know how to be an organization that they are. I don't know why you would even listen to them. If you're me, and this is why I'm not in charge of any organization or anything at all.
Well, I don't think that's the only reason.
I wouldn't listen to it at all. I would play Mason Smith. They tried, and the best.
Well, you can't do that.
The best.
You can't do
why not?
That. Because then you forfeit the game.
Cannot do that.
Because then you forfeit the game and you crush the team.
If he plays.
Yes.
Actually, yes.
You never played you never seen those high school teams? Well, this guy was another, but we played him anyway. And now all their games.
Les Miles doesn't have any wins on his record. Okay, who cares? Reggie Bush won the Heisman in my mind. I remember that.
I agree. Reggie Bush is filing for a.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just retroactively deal with this later. This is a kick the can down the road situation. If I'm LSU, I would be.
So you're saying they should have appealed it?
Yeah. Well.
No. Lloyd is literally saying,
play him
when the game starts. Play him
and then fight it after,
and they'll be talking about it all during the game. Isn't he not supposed to be playing? And then just fight it after the season. That's what.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Why not?
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
So you're going to play, and not only are you going to play a guy who, listen, in high school teams where it's not nationally televised and it's not around the media, and maybe you can sneak this guy in there, and you play, a different position. Like, oh, we're going to play this guy. No.
Lloyd, what's going to happen?
This guy's 6'5", 300 pounds.
No. Lloyd, what's going to happen is when that happens, the referee's going to hold the ball and continually throw the flag until he gets off the field.
So by doing that, you hurt the whole team.
You're hurting the whole team. The game will never start. It'll be a bad product. That's just not
and here's the deal.
Real.
And here's the deal. He's an All-American, and he is going to be a vital part of this defense. But I think that the defensive line is deep enough to be able to be okay.
I also agree with that you don't absolutely have to have him, but it just felt like such a coming together of everything that you wanted to see against Florida State whenever you had what happened last year. You get Mason Smith injured on the first series of the game. Harold Perkins doesn't play in that first game, so it felt like a come to Jesus for Florida State whenever you get Mason Smith in the lineup, Harold Perkins in the lineup, Jaden Daniels' second year of the offense. It felt like it was going to be kind of stacking everything in LSU's favor. Now you get this news of Mason Smith can't play. So much to the fact that it's been a year since they've kind of had this decision. Kayshon Boutte got to pick whatever games he wanted to be suspended for. He had a kid, no suspension. He was sat out a game for personal reasons, suspension. And now you have Mason Smith that doesn't get to do that because he's hurt. What if he just would have been active for the bowl game and you suspend him then? Or the other part, there's two more things that I think are interesting. One of which is LSU tried to schedule a week 0 game to get the suspension out the way for Florida State.
Did they?
Yes. Or basically.
Wait, did they do that? Or
no,
they should have done that.
No, this is a thing that they tried to get done. It was reported by Ross Dellinger.
Ross Dellinger is a good reporter.
This is his perfect.
He's a good reporter.
This is double scoop Ross Dellinger.
Yep.
Like, oh,
Good
it's time for me to
reporter.
cook.
Yeah.
And he got all of the information that you would expect him to get. So, which is why I love Scott Woodward, by the way. Like, let's see if we can get a week 0 game. Let's see if we can throw that in there.
You have a problem. Let's find a solution. Right? And, like, obviously they didn't get to do that.
And so, and the other thing that crossed my mind, and I've seen this on Twitter as well, is that what if he isn't fully healthy and you want to?
That could be a thing too.
That's
right?
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but
for somebody like him, if he's not fully healthy,
you want to play.
a 1 week.
Oh, he wants to.
A week of sitting out is
not going to help.
It's not going to help him. He needs to be out there and play because a lot of that health at this point is a mental hurdle you have to get over.
Right.
But I will say this, and it's not just trying to find the optimistic side to look at it, but if I were to think of, let's just say like Georgia was playing a top 10 matchup this week, and for whatever the reason was, Brock Bowers had to sit out. The mark of a true championship team is when a guy like this has to miss, you're still able to find ways to get it done.
Yep.
So it does tell you a lot about your team if you're able to go out there and get it done when he's not able to play this week. And I think the LSU faithful, if you will, would be highly mistaken that if, let's just say, by the end of that game it doesn't go right, that say that the season was tanked because Mason Smith didn't play.
Right.
I think that would be unfair to the rest of the team. I think that would be unfair to the rest of
100%.
how they're doing everything else. So does it hurt? 100%, yes. But I still fully expect them to be able to go out there and get the job done because that's what championship teams do.
No doubt. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to flip it to the other side, right? Other team. So last year, Florida State had a guy on their team named Jared Verse, right? This guy, defensive end, he was everywhere last year. He is probably one of the best, if not one of the best defensive ends in the country. I'm interested, right? Because Jaden Daniels, we all know he can run, but we all want to watch him throw the ball down the field, have some time. The part of being able to get the ball down the field is allowing the plays to develop and the receivers to – can't just throw the ball down the field with nobody down there, right? Like, you can't just throw it and say, oh, I hope someone's going to run underneath it. Like, you got to let these plays develop. It takes a little bit longer, right? So with a guy who's that athletic and that good coming off of the edge, that is a concern, right? Brian Kelly talked about that in his press conference. I'm looking forward to that matchup between Jared Verse and our tackles, in particularly Will Campbell, who's wearing the 7 patch on his jersey.
Here's the question. Here's what's interesting. Do you think they'll go the route of trying to blocking and chipping him, or if you think they'll give him the free runner and start making him make decisions and start trying to stop his feet by running the fakes at him, by running the tight ends right behind him and slipping out behind him? Well, how do you think they'll kind of approach it?
I think that it's going to be a little bit of that, but I also think that they have so much faith in Will Campbell that if they're going to allow Will, see what Will can do with him one-on-one, I think, right? Not give him a ton of help early and see what happens, but I do think the help is going to be, hey, let's slow him down, like you said, and make him think football. Like, oh, if there's a quarterback, go get him.
No one touched me. Oh, there's a free runner.
Yeah, I'm confused. Why isn't nobody blocking me right now? And then you look around, and all of a sudden, maybe someone is blocking you coming the other way. Can't crack black. Can't crack block.
Okay, keep going.
I can't talk. But you can put him in a situation to where he goes misdirection, he goes the other way, and the guy's ready to seal him off kind of thing. But I think that there's a little bit of combination of both.
I also want to say this. Sidebar in the Will Campbell situation, one, to come in as a freshman and earn a starting job at that left tackle spot is
from day one, basically.
Is absolutely ridiculous. But then to back it up the next year by being basically the team's captain, team's best player, and kind of voted on by the team is also a huge accomplishment. And I hope you would imagine that the character of a guy like that won't let him basically think that the situation he has to do more than what he actually has to do. But to be able to, accomplish those 2 feats in his first 2 years here at LSU, it's impressive.
No doubt.
I don't know that because he plays the position that he plays, if it'll be highlighted and looked at it like that. But I just want to highlight it right now because that is super impressive.
Here's where it's going to be highlighted. When a guy like Jared Verse gets shut down and he can't get to the quarterback and you don't really hear him make a lot of tackles, that's when because it's on national TV and you're going to have everybody talking about, like, damn, look at Will Campbell handling Jared Verse. At that point, he'll be the highlight of most of the games. Similar to what, like, Harold Perkins did last year. Now, obviously, Harold Perkins is a more athletic position.
Yeah.
It's a little flashier of a position, but you know, he had good games all year. Then he had that big game against Arkansas. Basically, won the game for LSU against Arkansas, and that's kind of when the popularity took off. If he shuts this guy down, which I think that he can, you're going to see a lot more hype for the offensive lineman.
I cannot wait to see. I feel like this year, more than the past few years, obviously because of the Muff situation, things kind of got a little wonky. But I cannot.
You would look at me like that.
You looked at me first.
Hey, Lloyd, shut up. I cannot wait to see if, or just when Aaron Anderson's on the field, you get that feeling before ball goes up, like this may go to the house.
Like Trenton Holiday-esque.
We haven't had that in a while here, man, and you know that's what it's going to be from the time he gets out there. I'm very excited to see that.
I'm trying to think of punt returners that, like, damn, every time this ball's in the air,
think about
Odell
it.
was one
It
of
hadn't
them.
been one since, like, Odell on here.
I mean, since Odell's left.
You got Odell, maybe Chad at the time as well. Then Trenton, that's about the last one.
And, like, so Odell was the last one.
Skylar Green, like, I think he's going to be in.
Chark.
Who?
Yeah, DJ was that, but I always felt
It was fine. You know,
I didn't feel that way with DJ.
I agree, but you weren't nervous like you were.
No, that's my point. My point is we've gone so far to the let's just make sure we catch a guy for so long. We haven't had the Skylar Green, the Trendon Holidays, the Chads.
Think about that.
We haven't had the Odells,
Peterson,
the Patrick
Tyrann
Petersons.
Mathieu.
We haven't had that here in a while where you felt like a ball's up, it might
Go to the
hit
house.
his head on the goalpost.
I mean,
right here.
Tyrann
that's
Mathieu
year after
changed
year after
games.
year. That's 6 years in a row. Like,
Yeah.
that's every year. That's what you got.
And the only thing that I will say about this, because I do agree with you, but I also think that Stingley could have been that guy, but the 2019 offense was so electric you didn't need it. To where you saw his first return against Georgia State.
My
sure,
point is
Yeah, I know what
here's
you're
the
saying.
thing.
Yeah, I know what
like
you're saying.
you say Stingley, and I'm not discounting that, but like Stingley was always a defensive player. Like we're talking about guys that we knew were ball carriers, that we knew broke plays coming from their high school days on forward, and you're like, hey, bro, I'm trying to see this.
Yeah.
Like this, we haven't had that feeling.
You have to be nervous about your kick.
We haven't had that feeling in a while.
I agree.
Right.
I
So
agree.
we-
I think
I
Aaron
mean-
Anderson is definitely that. And
Yeah.
then the other thing that makes me nervous about that situation is the only reports out of camp are he's bobbled a couple. That's fine because you know you have somebody back there in Gregory Clayton that can absolutely catch it. But it feels like LSU kind of needs that spark on the special teams again, where it's like let's try to flip the field a little bit, even though you feel comfortable with the offense, but it just feels like it's been so long, like you said, with the LSU special teams and what happened last year. Like Malik was the right pick, but it doesn't work out. And the Florida State game couldn't have gone worse.
Right.
You have 2 fumbled punt returns, you have a blocked field goal and a blocked extra point, and you lose by 1 point.
You know what's funny to me too, and like please don't take this the wrong way.
People are gonna take it the wrong way.
Even if I told you just right now today, if I gave you a step back, catch a screen pass, and who's more likely to take it 80 yards, I don't think anybody in here would say Malik over Aaron Anderson. In the sense of fact that like even when Malik was back there, I still didn't feel like I was about to see 80 yards.
You thought you were
maybe
gonna be the
25,
sure-handed-
maybe 30, but I feel like hey, if he catches it, he might be going to the sideline after he gets to the end
he has to
zone,
play
and it
And-
doesn't matter how far it is.
To your point, right? So I'm gonna flip it, right? So people don't take that the wrong way, right? The bubble screen, the screen pass, take 80 yards. Yes, Aaron Anderson, but there's not another receiver on this.
She was an athlete.
Yeah, there's not another receiver on this team that you would rather have go up in traffic and get a ball at the high point or with guys around him other than Malik, right?
Oh,
So like,
yeah,
you're not
100%.
discrediting Malik.
No.
You're just saying, hey, this is what Aaron Anderson's skill set is. And Malik's skill set is I'm a number one and I'm a dog and I'm going to go out there and you throw me the ball and I'm going to make every
the
play
play,
that I
all
can
that.
make. And I'm going
Of
to look,
course.
I can take it to the house whenever I want, but the explosiveness of Aaron Anderson is unlike anybody else on this team, right? I think Malik's going to have a monster
I do too.
game,
I think
right?
he's having
He had a great
unbelievable-
game last year. I mean, look, he had the 2 fumbles, but as a wide receiver, remember after the second fumble, he came in there in that long drive and catch.
This may be Malik's like legit real coming out party.
National
Like
stage.
you thought you saw good him towards the back end of the year. Like this may be
No.
shit,
I agree.
put the world on notice.
Hey, national stage, you're the biggest game of the weekend. Like people are going to be talking about you all weekend. You have the ability to go out and make some noise. I think he's
and
going
Lloyd's
to.
been talking about vengeance game for so long as
vengeance
a team. If there is anybody that it's a vengeance game for, is Malik.
Yep.
Especially after how it started last year. If there's anybody that it's a vengeance game for, it's Malik.
So we have a quarterback that we want to see throw the ball more.
Yeah.
Florida State's got a quarterback I think that they would like to see throw the ball more too, right? Like throw the ball downfield, because he can make a lot of plays with his legs. He did a lot against us last year, running around and completing passes, but kind of broken plays, right? I'm interested to see how they defend him, right? Are they going to spy? Are they going to have Harold Perkins spy him like they've done in the past with some of these running quarterbacks?
Third downs, third and longs.
Yeah,
probably.
but or are they going to say, hey, Harold, you're going to be the middle, you're going to be the linebacker, you're going to be calling the plays, and we want you to like play linebacker. You don't have to just spy this guy. How are they going to do it? I would probably lean more towards the spying of him.
I think so. Just my guess. If I had to literally just put a guess on the spot right now, is you see first and second downs, you will see them. I think you'll see them play kind of straight up unless they get behind the chains for whatever the reason may be, penalty, fumble, whatever, however it may go. And I think, especially if they have a lot of confidence in the other guys and their ability to get home, is you may see on third downs, 3rd and 5 or longer, that Harold is the spy. These other guys will rush, and Harold is the one that's going to make the plays in those situations.
Right.
But I think early downs, you'll see him play straight up.
Also, outside of Harold Perkins just spying the quarterback, the defensive ends are really big in containing the quarterback in the pocket, right? Not letting him get outside contain. Like, you want to go out and get him, but you also want to have such a tight angle where he can get outside of you whenever he wants, right? And so I think that's a big thing, is just, being disciplined in your scheme and being disciplined in your job of what you're supposed to be doing at your position, right? So I think that's going to be important. Our secondary is extremely it's a veteran secondary, right? I think that they're going to
It's a veteran, but not veteran together, but it's a veteran secondary.
They've been around, they've played some games. So I think that, as far as schemes go, I think they're going to understand what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. Now it's about getting on the field, knowing what you're going to do. Now, how are you going to compete with their talent, right? I think that we're going to be okay. Obviously, Alexander's been unbelievable.
Look, I'll be honest with you, man. It's a tough test to open the season with that kind of quarterback and that kind of offense and that kind of team, because, like you said, it's a veteran team, meaning the LSU side of it, veteran secondary. You got a veteran, probably middle linebacker running around, right? So you got a veteran guy making the calls out there. You got guys that are used to communicating with other people in possibly different ways. And now this is the first 3 weeks they get a chance to kind of do this stuff together. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to communicate and get stuff done on the fly in a loud and hostile environment, because they're not going to be, quote unquote, the home team this time. It'll be the other way around.
And don't get it twisted. Florida State had a good showing of fans in the
for sure.
Superdome.
50-50.
It was more than I thought. I went to the game, and it was more than I thought that I would see there. But if you've read what Brian Kelly has said about, you talk about Harold Perkins, where he's not going to be able to just line him up at the middle. He wants to move him around all over the football field.
Michael Parsons-esque.
Right. And you have, I think a big factor in this game is going to be Omar Speights, that you haven't seen yet play for LSU, but I think all reports coming out of camp is he's your real middle linebacker. I mean, it's hard to move Greg Penn out of that spot because he's like your old school Kendall Beck with big-bodied middle linebacker. Omar Speights ran down Jaden Daniels whenever they played each other against Arizona State, Oregon State. Like, he's got that kind of come off the edge. He can also run with you. So I think LSU's defense is going to fly around a little bit more than what you saw last year.
I agree. And we talk about our defense having to contain their running game. Their defense has to do the same thing with Jaden Daniels, right? And I know Jaden's going to throw it, and he's going to try not to rush more. Did you listen to Brian Kelly's press conference?
Yes.
I thought it was pretty interesting. Obviously, you knew that the next part of Jaden Daniels' development is pushing the ball down the field, understanding how to make not the open throws, but throwing guys open, right? Like, hey, this guy is open. Let me wait till he gets open. All right, now I'm going to throw it. No. Anticipating him being open or throwing him open that's what turns a good quarterback into an elite quarterback, right? And so I think what was interesting to me when listening to the press conferences throughout 7-on-7s and all of the passing portions of practice, they made sure to stress and emphasize to Jaden, like, hey, every throw you throw is a 4th down throw, right? Like, it's going to be tight coverage. We need to push the ball down the field. You need to throw these back shoulders to tight ends. You need to every time you need to think that we're going to go downfield and we're going to score and we're going to score and we're going to score, and you can't just rely on your legs. And to me, I'm not saying, it's 7-on-7, it's not a full game. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the fact that he's switching that mentality in his head of like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm not scared to do it anymore because I've done it. The more times you do something, the more likely, the more confident you're going to be in doing it, right? And so I liked to hear that. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing that, right? Because if he can unlock that part of his game, if he can unlock the fact that, hey, this cornerback is on his hip and I'm going to back shoulder this tight end, or I see a mismatch with this nickel against Mason Taylor and I'm going to throw it up to him, or, hey, like I see if he's even, he's leaving, I'm going to let it go before he breaks. Like, I'm interested to see that development part in a game.
I'm going to be honest with you. Here's my bold take of the season.
Oh, here we go.
This is my bold take of the season.
Like my tight end take?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty bold. I don't know that I believe that you will find a Jaden Daniels that is so good at leading receivers and throwing guys open again. I do think he'll be maybe slightly better at it, but I do look at that quality in a quarterback kind of like I see a very, very, very good point guard and or facilitator in basketball. It's just something you have. You either see guys and you're able to move them to spots, or you kind of don't, right? And so even if we see it here and there, I do think we will get to third downs and fourth downs where he may not trust it. But what's the kicker, what's going to be different is the continuity up front and their ability to play together as a team is going to be so much better this year. I don't think that part of the game is going to be as highlighted as it has been in the past. Yeah. If we think about like real college football, like think about there ain't many, and it's just so unfair to throw this name out there, but there ain't many Joe Burrows running around playing college football where they just got that already. You get what I'm saying? Like that's just not really a thing. And he's got so much talent. He has the ability to run. He knows he has guys that can get open once he starts moving. It's hard for me to believe that you're going to see some huge 180 turn and all of a sudden now he's throwing guys open all over the place, even and throwing it. But I do think the offense together will be that much more true, like just together, that he's not going to need as much of it as we think. And guys will be running wide open more than they were last year. And that's where you're going to be like, oh, he's throwing so much better. And he may be, but my point is I think it's going to be a better unit, period.
And that conversation, right? Like it's not all on the quarterback, right? Like, hey, yeah, he's got to make the right read, he's got to make the throw, but it's up to the receivers to get open and create separation, right? And look, Malik Neighbors can do that. Mason Taylor showed he can do that from the tight end position. The third and fourth receivers, like, cause show me that you can get open.
Let me just tell you this too. Like, think about it. Think about it this way. If I told you right now that Jaden Daniels was throwing dudes open, leading receivers to spots that wasn't open, outside of a Heisman opportunity, outside of NFL, we're talking about a 1-1 possible.
Right.
Like, we're not talking about a good player.
Yeah, it's not something that everybody does.
So, like, just to sit here and say, like, and I know that's not what you're not saying, like, that's what you're going to say. Yeah, I know that's what they want to be able to try to coach into them. I'm just not sure. I don't know if I've ever seen that coached into someone.
Right.
Yeah,
right? That's what I'm saying, I guess, at the end of the day.
That's one of the better takes that I've heard about it because it's not something that you just innately.
You don't just wake up tomorrow and you just all of a sudden you're making just unbelievable passes.
It's not easy. It's not that easy to develop that. No. Like, that is something that you have to understand.
It's innately in you.
Yeah.
And he's more AI than Chris Paul. And I think that's fine. If LSU understands what he's able to do at the quarterback position, you coach that into the game as opposed to trying to change him. And I think that's part of the reason that LSU fans struggle with it. They don't understand that it's not Joe Burrow. Sorry we had Joe Burrow. Like, it happened.
Yeah,
but not everybody's going to be that. And Jaden Daniels is extremely good. He had over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against Florida State.
Right.
And nobody wants to talk about it.
He was the only reason we're in the game.
And I wish we could go back and pull the tape because I also said last year, like, I could easily see him throwing for more than 3,000 yards and all of this stuff. I just don't think it's going to come in the sense of what we're talking about right now. Like, that stuff is
and that stuff takes year and year. Like, listen, he may be better this year at doing it. The next year, he may be better. Then the next year, in year 4 in the NFL, you're like, damn, this is a different quarterback. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You're supposed to get better as you get older and get more experience.
He was last year.
Exactly, right? And if he's better than he was last year, we're in a good spot.
He was damn good.
We're in a great spot, right? Like, that's all you can hope for. And,
because to be able to do stuff like that, people have to understand it takes so much trust. It takes so much confidence in your accuracy of where you're trying to put it because essentially you're asking to be able to throw guys open, meaning like they're not looking, it ain't going right at him, and I'm trying to put it in the spot, hoping that by the time it's like halfway in the air,
he's
he'll
going
be
to know.
looking for it.
You have to be confident he's going to be able to be in the right spot.
That is so, like, you're asking for so much confidence, and if that was like already there, I don't think we'd be asking for it, right? So I think, you know, stuff like that is, I don't think you're going to see a huge jump in that. I think the jump is going to be that you're going to see a much better, just oiled offense than what we saw last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the trust thing that you said. I think there's going to be a lot more trust in what they're doing offensively with Jane Daniels. People forget he came in and he was a transfer portal guy that got basically kicked out of Arizona State. They trashed his locker, did all of that, and by all means, for what he's done at LSU, he's been a great teammate. So now you go in after that. You
just gave the whole team beats.
Yeah, and
the whole coaching staff beats.
And on the
Block
first
out
play
the
of the
noise.
game, like you could see what he was because he took off and ran for 25 yards on the first play of the game against Florida State because he didn't trust himself yet. Now you give him year two and in the same offense with Denbrock, same receivers essentially, and I think that's going to be a huge deal for a trust factor for him.
I'm glad you said Denbrock because that's the other point of the offense, right? We're talking about the quarterback, we're talking about their wide receivers and the offensive line, the running backs, and all of that. That's all great because that's what makes the offense go. But let's not discredit Mike Denbrock. Him coming in here in a whole new scheme with a whole new group of players, having to teach them this in a short period of time because Jared knows college football offenses, especially elite college football offenses, are pretty complicated. Not as complicated as NFL offenses, but they're complicated. It's not like, hey, what's this thing? What does it say on the wristband? Okay, run this route and do that. No, there's some reads, there's some option routes that you have to do. There's things that you have to understand based off of what the defense is showing you, and you have to understand what your offensive coordinator is trying to do and how he's trying to do it with the personnel he's got. And so him being in year two as an offensive coordinator, I think unlocks a whole different level of offense just in the sense of him being confident and comfortable putting these guys in situations that confident that they are going to know what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to be. So I think that's another avenue where like, oh, damn, everybody was not on Denbrock. Listen, dude, had you not had that one monster year as an offense, Mike Denbrock's offense you'd have been ecstatic for, right, in years past. Like that is a winning type of offense. And I think this year you're going to see a better type of offense because he's more comfortable and more confident with the guys he's got in place. And I think they're more comfortable and more confident with him. And I think you're going to see that, right? There's always somebody in football and during the season that weren't really talking about much that's going to make a huge difference, right? Always. It's really any sport, right? If you're going to make a run, you're going to make it go to the championship team, somebody that wasn't like outside of your superstars.
Somebody has to show up.
Is going to show up. Right? And so who is that guy going to be, right? Is it going to be somebody in the secondary? Is it going to be somebody that may not be playing in the first game of the season like Harold Perkins did last year? Is it going to be, somebody that another freshman maybe on the offensive side of the ball? Like, who do y'all think that would be? And second question, is Armani Gillen ever going to play? I don't think so.
That's unfortunate because he could be that guy, but LSU has, 6 running backs that you feel okay with, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but that's just unfortunate for him because you saw a little bit of that juice against Mississippi State whenever he kind of got going a little bit. It's like, oh, he's going to take over the running back job, and then he was never able to be right after he tore his hamstring essentially off of the bone. But if it's –
hamstrings are tough, dude.
Yeah, and if it's one person that you're talking about that I feel like who it's going to be because of maybe the media narrative, it feels like Sage Ryan's getting a lot of that pressure to be the next guy up.
But see – they're talking about him.
I know.
It's like I think this is going to happen from somebody who's not getting talked about.
I think they're talking about him for a reason.
No, I get it. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but my point is they're hyping it up. Like he came in as a 5-star. He came in as a guy that was supposed to be that guy. Like they want to see that. So like I get that. But there's going to be somebody who has not been talked about and who really hasn't been, oh, this guy, he's been okay. He'll probably get some run at, some playing time, but he takes the next step in the game. Like, oh, this guy is going to be
my next pick would be Savion Jones, that has been at LSU for a minute and is at a premier position that you would see take a step to be. He's been talked about, but not in that maybe first-round conversation, but it feels like he could be at the end of the year when he had, after he played the way he did against Purdue where it felt, okay, this is the next premier defensive end at LSU.
It feels like LSU's got 6 defensive linemen.
Feels
right
great.
Now that everybody has talked about, oh, this guy's been great, this guy's been great, this guy's been great. Like, I get it. They're playing against their own guys. They understand. Like, at this point in camp, like, how the offensive lineman is going to attack you, right?
Not only that, you know the quarterback's cadence.
Yeah, exactly. And you know some moves that you need to make and like how to get around them and like you just know because you've played around it. You've been it's like a hitter playing against the same team in the division 10 times, right? And out of those 10 times, 8 times you face that same pitcher. By time 7 or 8, you're gonna really like if he throws 102, like you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable around him because you've seen it a lot and you know what to do and you know what's gonna come, and you know what to expect. Same thing, right? Anytime you have repetition. So I think they are talented. I think they are playing very well, and I think they are going to play well. But it's nice to know that you have more than just 2 or 3 guys on that front 7, in the front 4 in particular, that you can rotate because the way college football is now, you need that.
And what you're talking about of like who's the guy that's going to show up that you didn't expect to, I feel like that was Mikie Wingo last year. He was kind of thrust into a role, but you didn't expect him to be an All-American, and now he is. Yeah. And 18.
I agree. They say Jordan Jefferson from West Virginia. He's been playing really well.
I think Omar Speights is in that conversation.
Yeah.
Boy, it's going to be great if Jordan Jefferson is a stud at defensive tackle, to have that name circulate again through LSU football. Like it's gonna be funny. Just because the other Jordan Jefferson, he came on the show and he was a great interview, and I think a lot of people had the wrong idea about him. Or he's grown a lot since his time here at LSU.
Well, you have to think about what he was served with.
Not easy to deal.
An incompetent offense.
Get really a fair shake.
A 1990s offense.
Yeah.
Not the option offense either.
Yeah. No.
The offense where they were just figuring out the forward pass and this is what you do.
You're
with
going to let me
thing?
throw it?
Yeah, that's what you do.
But yeah, so he didn't really get a fair shake, and I think that you saw that, and I couldn't imagine being a Jordan Jefferson or a Brandon Harris what are we doing? And your high school offense felt better than your college offense. So, and I think that's what opened a lot of eyes to Jordan Jefferson when we had that interview, where it's like, oh, he gets football, he just didn't get a fair shake.
Yeah.
And he's been much maligned, and the name will always be that way, and now you just feel like he never got an opportunity to show how good he actually was. He was 6'6" and 215 pounds playing quarterback.
Right.
And they didn't know how to use him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you have some thoughts, Jared.
No, I was only here 1 year with him. So but that's 100% right, man. It was tough. We didn't do a very good job at that time of kind of really getting the quarterbacks and or the offensive side of the ball where it needed to be. Lloyd, stop looking at me as if I'm about to give some tell-all right here.
I want it.
Go ahead. Let me just go ahead and put everybody in the dirt. Stop looking at me like that.
Well, okay, here's my next question. Here's my next question, though. What is the role? Is Denver Harris going to see the field?
Oh.
This weekend? That's a very good question. My guess, yes. How much? I don't know.
Special teams. I bet you he plays on special teams. Prove to me that
I think that's a given. Yeah,
Prove to me that you're
I don't
gonna
really
do
think that's in the question. I meant actually see
in the
defensive
secondary.
snaps. Yeah, I think the special teams is 1,000% going to happen when it comes to is he going to get on the field. But I was more so geared towards is he going to play on the defensive unit? I think so. We'll see how much.
If he plays, it either feels like LSU is up a lot or in a super bad spot.
You think?
Yeah.
He's only going to play if they're up or down a lot.
Yeah.
Really? You think that?
I don't think it'll happen that way. Because
Petey.
Here's my thing. Literally, if you know what you're dealing with, which I'm sure at this point Brian Kelly does, and I'm sure at this point Brian Kelly's not pretty stupid. If you're putting him in those situations, you may be on the verge of in game 1 losing him for the rest of the season. If you're putting him in those spots, right? Like if you're saying, hey, you're going to go down there and run on these special teams up and down the floor, but we're not ever going to put you in on offense or defense, and you know that he could possibly be a loose cannon, and then you don't put him in until you're up by 4 touchdowns, you may not get very much
again.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's
but then
the move
on the flip side of that, Brian Kelly doesn't feel like he is a smart guy, but he doesn't always feel like the guy. I'm going to do this just because I want him to stay. I think he's not going to compromise.
He's been sending a message to
he's not going to
Denver.
compromise. No, I don't know. Maybe
I don't think this is about wanting him to stay. I think Brian's going to be like, hey, if there is a place for you to show me, show me on special teams. If there is a need for you to play here as well. But I'm not going to put it in just to stick it in your face at the end of this thing when we're up by 1 million.
Right.
Either I'm not going to play you at all in those situations, or I'm going to put you in a meaningful snap. You're just not going to play all of it.
Yeah.
I think he's
if he plays some meaningful snaps early in the game, and it does become a blowout, LSU's blowing them out, and he does
then
put him in later, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But
Because, hey, dude, you're still
I think
third
he's
string
more.
and you gotta get in there.
I get the feel that Brian's way more of just a straight up guy, and I think he's not afraid to have those tough conversations, if you will, with players and kind of give them, hey, this is where you are.
Yeah.
Do something about it for the better of you and for the better of this team, or we can, move in a different direction.
I agree. So a lot of things are going to be happening on Sunday, or this whole weekend, really.
Yeah.
Stadiums are going to be buzzing. Football is going to be, like, on TV, college game day. Like, the weather, I'm not saying it's cooled off, but it's not going to be 100 degrees down here anymore. You are having – so that's going to be buzzing. The sports books are going to be buzzing.
Bang.
So my cousin runs the Caesars in New Orleans. And I was talking to him yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, how was your
How's
first
your
week?"
sponsorship budget? We can't get.
Well, he's not in charge of the sports book; he's in charge of the casino. But the sports book in the casino, I was like, "Hey, how was the first weekend? I know it was week 0." He goes, "Oh, I didn't think anything was going to be out." He goes, "It was bonkers." He said, "We've already sold out our seats on Sunday for you can pre-sell their seats for the sports." He goes, "They're gone, 10 minutes out." Sold out. He said it's going to be outrageous to sports, like how much action is going to be on the sports books this weekend in New Orleans, which that's everywhere. It's going to be everywhere because college football's back. All of these sports books that were kind of like, we're just kind of teetering around during baseball season, they're about to make so much money. And I'm excited for it. And they're going to take a lot of my money, I'm sure. Right? They took all of my money. I'm finally got to the 0 mark in my account. It's time to reload. My paycheck's coming in a couple weeks. Put some money from the paycheck into the account. Start making – yeah, exactly. I got to move – see, the way it's set up. The way my bank account's set up, I'm going to move this. I'm just going to keep shell companies going here. I'm going to just create some different things. You know what I mean? I think –
all your
look,
insurance needs.
I make fun of you.
How many open bets do you think I have?
Oh, I'm not getting to that point. I just make fun of you because you buy points all the time, and I think it's a bad deal to do that. But I look at your account, and you have a lot more money in your betting account than I do in mine, right? I mean, you could have $10, you'd have more than I would, but so
the road to 2K was very fruitful.
I'm not saying that I'm going to copy you, but I think that I will be more likely to take some of the bets that you give me.
Yeah, you always give me a little
I'm very
bit of,
stubborn.
Yes, you are about this in particular. You think that's fine.
I don't think I'm right.
Well,
I'm just going based off of people who have made careers in betting. That's what they're telling me.
They have
I am
$0
obviously
in their
not betting the
account?
right games, obviously, but they say that's what they tell me over the long run. You're going to be, but you've proved me wrong.
There's a couple strategies that you can go with. One of which is mine that works apparently. We'll see what happens.
Well, I
in
don't
the
want
year of
to jinx
2023
you.
either.
Yeah.
I'm very
Road to 4K now.
Road to 4K would be nice if we could get there.
Road to 10K.
We got 50 open bets before.
Okay. Well,
if you want to copy those, they're available.
yeah, I'd like to see you give me a little screenshot of those. The
50
video
open
screenshots. The video screenshots of it.
This man said I got 50 open
We're
bets.
not gonna talk about the bets yet. I want to wait till we get close to the weekend to talk about it. Or at least we're gonna talk about it on Wednesday before the Thursday slate, and then talk about it again on Friday.
Talk about buying points. I bought 1.5 for the Ravens, and they lost by 1, but Lloyd didn't.
That's a very good point.
If you didn't buy a point,
good.
you lost.
Are you doing this yourself, or you have somebody that you look at, or you listen to?
The man upstairs. No. And that ghost.
Jersey Jerry's ghost.
Jersey Jerry's ghost. I have a Jets future because the ghost said that they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Speaking of ghost, I hate scary movies. I don't watch scary movies at all. Well, my wife loves scary movies.
So you broke her foot?
They were at my house. She was at my house, obviously.
Your wife
Her house.
was at your house? Wow.
With her brother and his girlfriend were at our house. That's probably the better way to phrase it. And we had dinner, and we ordered in, had dinner, and then they're like, "Hey, let's watch this movie." It was The Pope's Exorcist.
That looked terrifying.
They show me the trailer, and I'm like, "Oh, this movie's got it's got a nice storyline. The priest that was doing the exorcism was kind of funny in the thing." I'm like, "Oh, this," and the demon that was taking over this human didn't seem like he was super scary. I mean, scary, but not like to. I was like, "Oh, I can watch this storyline." Boy, I was drenched in sweat. I had the pillow over my face half the movie. I was looking at my phone the whole time. I was doing this. It was brutal. But I made it through.
The exorcism?
It don't sound like you made it through. I'm gonna be honest.
Because I've seen that. He
No,
didn't.
it's not it's a different one. It's on Netflix, and it's that's crazy. I don't know why it came up, but you killed the ghost.
The ghost.
But it seems like this is a friendly ghost who's giving picks.
He's gambling ghost.
It's a gambling ghost. He's giving picks, so that's good. That's good.
So Jets future on the Super Bowl. That's one of 49 other bets I have. If you want them, I will.
I would like to
share.
see what you've got, and I'll compare and contrast, and I'll look at and see what I like, what I don't like, and then I'll make fun of some of the ones I don't like, which probably you'll win, and I'll lose, and then you can make fun of me on Wednesday show.
Mikey's trying to use the
He's trying to neg me.
Yeah, that's
No.
he's doing it.
I'm giving you compliments, but I'm also I'm giving you jabs at the same time. You know?
One of the bets that I also feel like you maybe want to hop on is LSU is only -2.5 as of right now.
I do like that. I'm about to do that. I'm gonna do that after this.
So I did money line.
I didn't like it, so I did money line.
After what happened
Wasn't
last
much
year,
to buy either, so
I don't mind
just
the
went money
I don't
line.
mind the money line bet. I don't mind that. I like that. I'll probably do both. I'll probably do money line and
Over?
then what's the over?
I haven't.
So you telling me you did money line, but why wouldn't you just do the -2.5 as well?
Oh, because I'm still a little scared of what happened after last year.
Different
I know
team,
that
dude.
New
Whatever
team,
happened
new
last
special
year
teams coach.
don't mean shit this year.
I mean, everybody seems to love the new special teams coach, but it speaks volumes about.
You haven't heard anything about him, which is a good thing.
Oh, I've only heard good things that he's
Yeah, but
yelling,
like,
barking,
yep.
and doing all the special teams things.
Good.
Good. Better
Good.
than, but the other one also did that too.
But it wasn't young.
Marvin Harrison Jr. to win the Blitnikoff.
I took a feature on
Plus
that.
250.
What's Malik?
I think it's gonna be somebody else out of there. We still don't even know who's throwing to him.
That's
or do
true.
we?
And I do have Sam Hartman to win the Heisman after what I did that before the game.
Your boy at USC could be a dark horse to win the Blitnikoff.
Freshman. Sex. He looked like Reggie Bush 2.0. He looked like
He
a
looked good.
new USC guy. It
He
was
looked good.
unbelievable.
But it's going to be a very fun betting season. Betting season's back. I know that we talked betting a lot in the past. We're about to start doing a whole lot more now the football season's here, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to football season. I'm also looking forward to giving you all of our football content in the future. We have some special guests coming on Wednesday, which I'm very excited about. We are in the works of trying to get some guys here being regulars on Monday and Friday. It'll give you really cool insight and really fun insight, obviously. Being that it's Monday and being that we have all week to talk about the beautiful sport of football and prepare for the LSU game, and that you're going to get 3 shows from us this week, we are going to go right into our seggies now, right? And listen, Lloyd, this is for you.
Over 58. Over under 58. That's a lot.
That's a big number. Here you go. Here's
That's
this
a
for you.
big number.
Tease it.
This for you. The other day, so when I was out of town, I got a picture from my wife at our house.
Was she at your house?
She was at our house. And it was a picture of our front door, and it was stacked to the top with beer.
With what? Oh, with beer.
With some Heineken Silver. And it was stacked. She goes, what are we going to do with all this Heineken Silver? I was like, what do you mean what are we going to do? We got tailgates all year. We have Friday shows here at Cards and Culture where beer is going to be iced and flowing. And Heineken Silver is a very good beer to do that with because it's 95 calories, it's 4% alcohol. It tastes really good. You can drink a bunch of it. You don't feel like you get full and bloated. And they have done a really good job. And so we have a lot of it, and we're going to supply it to every tailgate that we're part of. We're going to supply it to every Friday show that we're a part of. And I'm looking forward to that. And if you haven't had Heineken Silver, go out and give it a shot because it is very good, and they've done a really good job of marketing their new light beer. So that I know you would like because you are now a pro Heineken Silver guy. So
I am.
You are. We also are in talks about having Lloyd. If you follow us, we had Booze Cruise. And every time Dylan Cruz hit a home run, Lloyd would chug a beer or funnel a beer. We are going to have a different version of that this year. We don't know what it is going to be yet, so ideas and suggestions are welcome. Please put them in the chat, put them on Twitter, put them on Instagram, whatever you want.
I threw my idea out there in the group chat.
You did?
Didn't get much response.
Well, that's what happens when sometimes you don't
Illegal.
respond to everybody else, and it's illegal.
It was illegal.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to the seggies. Our seggies are brought to you by all of our friends. We're gonna get
Straight shot. We were over this. we bonded. Trauma
to-
bond.
Well, boy, we after a little bit.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's good. That's what you need.
I'm proud of you.
Proud of you.
Good luck tonight.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
You need help.
Apparently, I'm getting roasted for having 50 open bets in the chat.
You think?
Here's a dinner. It's okay. That's what we love about you.
Thank you.
All right.
I
Let's
can only
get-
be me.
Do you have a mistake of the day?
I do.
Perfect. Look, he's prepared.
Wow.
I was ready to blow your doors off.
Oh,
New week, new Lloyd.
That's
So,
right. One day at a
mistake of the
time.
day is brought to you by our friends at Doe's E-Place. We will be at Doe's on Thursday. I don't
New
know
team,
what time
new
we're gonna
team
be there.
bonding.
New team bonding. We're gonna have a nice little team dinner, team or lunch.
Team lunch. Nobody can get the burger unless I get the burger.
Nah, that's how it goes.
Why don't you get the burger? I'm not gonna get the burger. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be at the beach this weekend, so I got to.
You should get the burger.
I'll probably get the burger.
You should get
What
the
am I
burger.
talking about?
I didn't get in the water.
I just won't eat until lunch.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
Are you gonna get in the water?
Shirt on. Yeah, I'm getting in the water.
Sure one.
I'm gonna have the whole like scuba diving outfit
White
on.
tee.
Yeah, shirt on, the swim shirt
With the
the
swim
flippers,
shoes?
with the swim shoes on,
The flippers.
the big bucket hat,
Water shoes?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Guy loves it here.
That's it. This guy loves the sun. All right, mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Doe's E-Place. Let me hear it.
My mistake of the day is if you watch, I got two.
Okay.
First of which is, why did they put Jason Garrett in the booth? The most boring person of all time to ever call a football
I didn't even
game.
listen to him.
I know, you didn't even have to. It was just exactly what you think he would be. The most monotone, nothing burger ever in the first college football game of the year. And you have this guy that doesn't even feel like he cares about the game at all. Second mistake of the day, we're moving to the NFL.
Is he Irish?
Oh, probably
Just serious question.
the red hair.
I mean, that would make sense.
It seemed like he had no affiliation to be
I think this is
a
his
part
new
of that
job.
game. So like maybe
Maybe.
question out there.
So
Go ahead.
Finish. I
Thought
don't
a
know.
nickel. Second mistake of the day goes to
You
the
had a
San
nickel.
Francisco
You just
49ers.
put it all in your bets.
Yeah. The 49ers for the Trey Lance debacle. If they weren't such a good franchise, it feels like not everybody would get away with this. If
Ooh,
they
can I
traded-
add to that?
Absolutely.
Do y'all know the story behind that pick, by the way? So that pick was traded 3 different times, so it ended up in 4 teams' hands, right? Which means that there was 3 other players picked, right? The 2 of those other players have been so far Pro Bowl receivers, and the person that got picked in that initial 12 spot that the 49ers had, anybody guess who it was? Just if you threw a wild guess out from that year. So so for everyone listening, for everyone listening, the 49ers had the 12th overall spot. They ended up trading up to the 3. Whoever took that spot traded up to the 6th. Whoever took that spot traded up to like the 9. So who ended up getting the 12th spot, I won't tell you the team because you can literally guess the player if I tell you the team, but can you guess who the player is?
No, Jamar went 5th or 6th.
What this
so-
was 3 years ago,
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. I think so.
Was it Micah Parsons? That's
Cowboys.
That's pretty
Cowboys
good that I
drafted
got that.
Micah Parsons in
That
the
was
12th spot.
impressive.
I don't know how I got that.
Yep. Micah Parsons, 12th spot.
How did I do that?
Imagine if he was on that defense as well. Oh my God.
That literally just came, like, honestly, I had no reasoning on my head. It just popped in my head.
That's pretty good.
Zero reasoning. I didn't
Pretty
like think like,
firm right
oh, he got traded to the Cowboys.
You want
so that was
to know how you figured it out? Because we're a football show too. That's how.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. That's right. That's a
how.
good point. I like that.
That's how.
We are a football show.
Or it's the exorcism.
Or the Pope's exorcism.
Yeah.
Or a Catholic football show.
We're well. Go Irish.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. Yeah. All right. What's your second mistake of the day?
That
Was
was
that
my
it? Oh, that was
second
it.
one. Yeah, I did
okay.
too.
That was good.
They could have had Jamar Chase also. If you traded up to the 3 pick, you got Jamar at what?
It was
6?
2 Pro Bowl receivers and obviously Pro Bowler there too.
Boy, could you imagine if they got? I mean, your
Brandon
quarterback.
Ayuk,
Your quarterback was good at the
Debo,
time.
Jamar Chase.
He hated Jimmy though.
No. Just they had the spot and draft Micah Parsons. Now you got
Yeah.
Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons coming
Yeah.
up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who wants
And
that?
now the best defense in the league just became historic.
Like Fred Warner's running around the middle. You got them two.
Bro.
Like who wants to touch that?
Nobody wants to touch it now. Imagine with Micah Parsons.
Or you could have Trey Lance and trade him.
I hope Trey Lance ends up being solid.
He feels like he'll do well in the CFL or the XFL.
Here's the thing. Before we move on, I'm not too sure. I think that he's that bad. I don't know that he's that great, but
And maybe he just didn't fit into that offense.
maybe not.
Because
We'll
look,
see. There's still time to
no,
tell.
here's the deal. Let me tell you why. the quarterbacks that have excelled in that offense recently, right now, they don't really it's more of a game manager. Hey, you can do this. Yeah. Anybody can play in this offense. I get that.
You can even go back to the Matt Ryan.
Right. This guy, Trey Lance, is electric. He has a big arm. So maybe he needs to be somewhere where an offense can utilize that, and that's his strength. I don't know. I'm just trying to put a positive spin on this.
If I'm a GM, it's no longer North Dakota State for me. Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, 0-2.
Good point.
Whoever that offensive coordinator is,
but you're not a GM.
Out.
Too early. They're in win now mode. That's the thing. That's the one part of it that we forget about when we talk about him.
Yeah, Brock Purdy coming off UCL surgery.
Yeah, but he's healthy now.
He took him to 11 straight wins or some crazy shit like that last year. So we can't literally just.
You think Will Levis? You think Will Greer is gonna get picked up somewhere? He should, right? Has he got picked up anymore?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
He had a great game. What a game! If you're gonna get traded,
if
you're gonna get released, and the guy's gonna take your position, what a game to go out on, to put yourself out in the market. Hey, listen, put me on a practice squad. Maybe you're back up. I'll configure this.
Hey, question: is that a precursor to what you might see from Dak this year? He called a good bit of that game.
You're right.
Call a good bit of that game.
I hope for Dak.
So does my.
I'm a huge Cowboys fan.
Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, all right.
Dak will get traded.
I like that. Curtain call.
Cut.
Curtain call is brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners and me.
Okay.
For all your insurance needs, give us a call.
All right.
You got one?
I do. Since it is the beginning of college football, the beginning of basically football period this year, like real football, like when it actually counts, right? I'm going to give some love to our our fellow in-state school in Louisiana, Tulane. Winning does a lot for you. People like to invest in winners, and Tulane has some new football facilities over there, and they are very nice.
They look fire.
So we give a little curtain call to Tulane over there for
ranked in the top 25.
There you go, stepping it up, back in the top 25. They beat a USC team last year. Next thing you know, here comes new football facilities.
Better than
Boy, cue it up if it's on there,
better than Vandy's.
Definitely better than Vandy's, and got it done.
Got it done in time. Vandy did win. They got the dub over Hawaii.
It didn't cover.
They did not cover, but they got the dub. Hawaii's coach came out and said he knew what to cover. You know what it was. He was I knew the underdog that we were at. They lost by 7. They did good for all the bettors. So I'd bet Hawaii.
There it is.
I would not have bet Hawaii. I would have bet the other way because they had a long way to go. And Vanderbilt, but they
home
won.
And home.
Huh?
Home and home.
Vanderbilt won. All right, Lloyd.
My curtain call. We talked about it a little bit, but I've been following Sam Hartman for a good bit of his life now because of the QB1 series with Netflix. So I saw him leave as a junior in high school to follow a team where a coach wanted him to go play with his former coach, went to another team that had 0 wins. He follows them and takes over the team, gets them to the state finals after they won 0 games. Then he goes to Wake Forest, turns them into a winner. Now he's at Notre Dame, and it feels like he is having an absolute star turn. Not only do I have him as maybe a future to win the Heisman, but his performance and what Notre Dame looked like. I know not everybody wants to talk about it because of Brian Kelly, and they were taking some shots at LSU for some reason.
They love doing that. That's fine. People love to hate Brian Kelly.
I know, it's weird.
I will say this: Sam Hartman's great. I think he's gonna be a great NFL guy. I think he's got that leadership qualities. The rib necklace that his mom made him is a little weird.
Super weird.
Very weird. Like, this guy had rib surgery, right? He had like a loose rib or something happened. What was it? I don't know exactly. Maybe I don't know.
It's in the Bible.
Got a loose rib.
And he, as a gift, he was gifted a rib necklace
Of his own rib.
His own rib. It was a little weird. A little weird.
Yeah, super weird.
That's
now
okay.
that I'm thinking
but
about it.
He's good.
He's good.
Good.
And I feel like he could be a potential. Caleb Williams is kind of freaking me out with his. Talk about mistake of the day. Jesus, what an idiot. Him going, like, I don't want to be paid $500 by the college, like, for NCAA football. You're not even going to be in the game. You're going to be in the NFL. You're not going to be a part of it. So, hush. Stop making it about you.
It's always about somebody. You know, you got to make it.
He's good. It's just.
He's very good.
It's bothering me.
That's a good one. That's a good. Sam Hartman's good. Like that was a good curtain call for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the Navy head coach looks like he looks like he's in the Navy. Swashbuckler.
Yeah, he is. My curtain call is to LSU football. Not the current state of LSU football, but
the
product that is LSU football. And if you looked at ESPN's top 100 NFL list, and you got all the way down to the top 5, 3 of those top 5 reside from the same school, and honestly, 3 of those top 5 reside from the same team.
Nah, dude, one of them's from Ohio State. You can't say that.
Oh yeah, duh.
Sorry.
Can't claim him.
But they're all on the same team in college, and they're all in the top 5 in the NFL.
Jack had a field day with that on Twitter.
Oh, no, he did.
He crushed it.
Yeah, he did.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he did. Jack's been crushing Twitter. It's good. Twitter's you can monetize it.
Yeah,
now, so
yeah.
it's
A little incentive.
a little incentive. So that's my curtain call.
And good luck to you tonight, curtain call.
Thank you.
Play well.
Thank you. I will.
Keep the hammies
stretch.
intact. Keep the hammies intact.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? He keeps telling us that he's been working out and he does all that, and he's very correct. But just let me know the last time you actually gave me an opened up full out sprint.
Well, I'm not going to do that today either, though.
Oh,
you might.
Michael.
Come on, we know the avatar. He's got one speed. Kid's got one speed. Let's be honest.
So I'm off my wife's foot. It's not broken.
Oh, you're off the hook?
It's not broken. I got
Woo!
that.
Thank God.
Thank
You was
God.
about-
Charges.
You was about to be sleeping in Kobe's doghouse.
She shouldn't have challenged me as an athlete.
You just spat her up next
Well,
to
Kobe sleeps in our bed. I'll be sleeping in the laundry room.
Yeah, there you go.
No doubt. All right, that's all we got for
sleep in
today.
the bed.
We'll be back live on Wednesday, preview more of the game, have a little bit more insight from somebody else, not us, and not someone that you probably would anticipate us having on the show.
Pat
but
Summerall.
yeah, that'd be awesome. John Madden.
John Madden. Bob Barker. Dead. Rest in
RIP.
peace.
RIP. That could have been a curtain call.
It still could be.
Bob Barker.
You fucking hate that.
that
Bob Barker.
But we'll be back on Wednesday.
I just hate that Bob Barker.
We'll be back live on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. here, Cards and Culture.
Who's the next one to die, you think? That's
Jesus.
a celebrity.
I don't know.
Kim Kardashian?
No, dude, relax. You did good with the curtain calls, and now you're trying to be negative over here with, put some bad juju on people. You know what I mean? You can't be doing that.
You're right.
You can't be doing that. You did good.
Okay.
You did good. You did good. Just positive. And it was funny and everything. Now you're trying to kill Kim Kardashian. Come on.
Drew Carey.
I mean, see? Why? I like Drew Carey.
This is when he needs the mute button, dude.
I know. We're excited to share in this football season with you. I am very happy that it's here. Fantasy football season is alive and well. For all of you that have fantasy football drafts, good luck. And we'll see you all on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Peace.
Peace. That's how the show.